2012, decided to leave my corporate America job and do this full time, and it was a struggle at first. And I always use the analogy or use the story of the Israelites leaving, Egypt and going through the wilderness. And I had to go through the wilderness to get to my promised land. What's up, Jay? What's up?
How you doing? Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it, man. Chef, man, I appreciate you doing this. Sitting down, coming to the Loft. I appreciate it, man. Like I was saying before, I feel like you're like a father figure to me, a mentor. You've done so much. You were the first person really to literally use some of my services when it comes to photography and doing videos. I really appreciate that. Like, you really put your money where your mouth is and stuff. And I don't care what anybody say about you. A genuine person, man. You got a good heart. Like, I see how you invest in the community, and I just really appreciate you. I really do.
Well, thanks, Jay, man. It's just an honor, man. I see quality, man, and I see integrity in you, and that's why I use you all the time, man. So again, I'm honored to be a friend, to be a brother in Christ, man, and to be working together with you. I kind of call myself a cheftivist, like an activist, but I'm a cheftivist. So what I do is I give back a lot in the community, do a lot of programs with inner city youth, do a lot of charity events throughout the area. But along with that, I do intimate dinners for couples. I come into a home and I do a 6-course dinner in their home.
I still remember when I surprised my wife with that. Like, that was amazing. We went to the hotel and everything, and that's still like one of the best gifts I've given my wife.
I tell people all the time, it's you can give gifts. You can give material things. Cars, jewelry, money, things like that. But, it gets to a point where you're looking for experiences more than physical gifts. And what I offer is I offer an experience. Just really fell in love with food as I helped my mom. Then my mother ended up getting really sick and ended up passing away from kidney failure. But one of the last things she told me before she passed away was to take this gift that I've been blessed with to the next level, and I didn't know what that meant, so I prayed on it, and the Lord gave me this vision of going to culinary school. So I went to the International Culinary Arts and Sciences Institute, which is in Chesterland, Ohio, and it ended up being the first African American to graduate from there.
Wow, first,
yeah, very first. So
how was that transition of you working a full-time job, and you're accustomed to getting paid every 2 weeks or whatever, and then just full blown, just whenever you get a gig or people want some food or something.
Well, it was interesting because when I graduated from culinary school, I was still working my corporate America job. So, I started doing the dinners for 2. I was still doing my corporate job. So for 8 years, I was doing both, and I kept hearing the voice of the Lord saying, step out on faith, leave your corporate job, and trust me. And I was like, what are you talking about? I got bills to pay, So finally in 2012, decided to leave my corporate America job and do this full time. And it was a struggle at first. And I always use the analogy or use the story of the Israelites leaving, Egypt and going through the wilderness, and I had to go through the wilderness to get to my promised land. And the wilderness wasn't fun. There were some times when I first left, after I left my job, that for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, I didn't get a phone call, from any clients at all, and obviously with children, mortgage, and all that kind of stuff, it was kind of difficult. but the Lord just kept telling me to be patient and trust in Him, and and even through I never did what I do strictly for money. I do what I do for influence and to inspire people. And I think if you put God first and all these other things, the word says that you put Him first, all these other things will come. And once I had to realize that I had to put Him first and His will and His plans and His agenda first over my monies and stuff, He would take care of me, and He has, and I think that's the key to everything. It's just putting Him first.
Yeah.
Well, the book has been something in the works for years. I always thought about doing something to kind of highlight some of my favorite couples, and I've done over 1,000 of these dinners for two, as I mentioned. So put together the cookbook. So the cookbook is called Cooking with Chef Wells, Intimate Dinners for Two. And what I did was I have about 60 or so recipes. All the recipes are for two people. But what I had were 29 couples, 29 of my favorite couples, just share their story, so how you guys met, your dating story, your wedding, funny stories, things like that. And it's the great thing about the book, I think, is how diverse the book is. I have young, old, white, black. You have couples that have been married for 3 years, couple that's been married for 50 years. You have interracial couples. You even have a same-sex couple in the book. So it's just diverse, and it's just showing love in all of its facets and all of its ways that it can be expressed. So I thank the couples, you and Bree, and all the other couples who were so open with sharing your stories, man. And it's just, the book couldn't be what it is today without you guys. I get feedback from people who love it, and they say the one thing they love about it, again, are just reading the stories. I get people that say they haven't looked at one recipe yet. All they've done is read the stories. So I just love the stories, and I wanted it to be more of like a coffee table cookbook. A book that you can kind of keep on your coffee table, and you just pick up every once in a while and just read a story. Read a story about how this couple that you've never met, how they met, and how they keep their love alive. I just wanted to inspire people, and that's the main reason I wrote the book.
So what would you tell like a mentee or a sushi chef? What do you call it?
A sous chef.
Sous chef. Okay.
It's just really interesting. What I do here is I have mentored several chefs here in the Cleveland area, and I love to see them exceed and excel, but I always tell them that you can't do this thing strictly for money, because it becomes a hustle. And if you have that hustle mindset, you would do anything for money. Being an entrepreneur is all about experiences, man. It's all about getting out of your comfort zone, man, and learning new things. In this game, you always got to stay fresh. You always got to stay new. You can't just keep making the same dish the same way all the time. So that's the one thing. And the second thing is, I really built, and I've been blessed to kind of build my business on relationships. Relationships with the media, relationships with organizations, relationships with nonprofits, and building those relationships are important. Obviously, as a businessman, once you have a relationship with these people, they call on you for different things. So, having relationships with certain people and being a man of my word and living my life with integrity is important. But again, the relationships are really important. And, doing what I said I'm going to do and being where I say I will be, that's all a part of the integrity thing. And again, I thank God for the many relationships that I've built in this city with individuals, with corporations, with again nonprofits, with charitable organizations, things like that. So again, I just really Hi, this is Chef Eric Wells from Skylar Ray's Culinary Services. I'm a private chef, and you've watched Cuts by Emanuel here at LoftOne.